My end? Okay.
Hey, this is Sports Slaw with Lomas Brown, the pro.
And Deb Schneider, I'm the prof. And together, we're the pro and the prof.
Hello, Deb. How are you? Hey.
Good night. Hey. Episode 47. Wow.
I know we're 3 away from the half century mark, Deb. We're getting there. We're climbing. We're climbing. Yes,
we're working on it. Yeah. So many things going on. I mean, you just finished everything on the draft, so got a little bit to talk about with the draft.
Yes, we'll get into that. But first,
special guest.
How was your week? Let me hear anything interesting happened this week for you.
Just working.
That's it. Grinding away.
Just working. Had a fun little debate with this guy you might work with, Herman Moore.
Yes, that was a lively for everybody. That was a lively debate. I mean, we talked about a couple of different subjects too. It was funny how we just jumped into different subjects, and every subject we got into seemed to turn into a debate.
I know. I am looking forward to Herman. This is a shout out. Looking forward to having you on the podcast, having a nice little public debate.
Yes, we would get that University of Virginia grad on there. You know, those guys think they're really, really smart. So, and Herman is no different from any Virginia grad that I've ever met. So he thinks he's a sharp fellow, which he is. I'll give him his credit.
I will say he's very, very sharp.
He really is. He keeps me on my toes there.
Yep. Kept me on my toes too. So that was my fun time, having a little off the record debate with Herman Moore.
Yes. And, you know, for me, had a lot of meetings this week. They've been kind of boring meetings too, but I did talk about a little 3D drones, which is something that's coming up. That's going to be big. The technology, Deb. And we seem to be in the hub. According to a lot of people, Detroit is turning into the fourth revolution industry because of all the autonomous technology that's coming to Detroit with cars. You're talking drones. So it's a lot of things happening here in the Motor City where we are, Deb, in the thumb. We're in the thumb, people.
It's exciting. It actually is a really fun time. I mean, as we're coming out of COVID, and we've talked a lot about COVID as we're coming out, and more people are getting vaccinated. Shout out if you haven't gotten your vaccination, go and get your vaccination.
I love it.
Yep. And you know, so many things happening. It's exciting. It's exciting to start to get back. It's exciting to start to, you know, see some of these sports coming back, see more and more people getting out, feeling safe getting out.
Yeah, and hopefully, like you said, there'll be more and more fans filling these arenas because, man, this is not the same without fans being in the arena. So baseball is here, you know, basketball is kind of winding down a little bit. We just had the football draft that just came up, and you see how I segue? Did you see the segue? Because I'm going to segue into
But don't forget the hockey game.
Yep.
The Rangers Capitals hockey game.
That? Yeah. Now, Deb, I didn't see that, but you emailed us or you sent the text last night. So what quite happened last night? Wasn't that the Rangers and somebody else?
Rangers and the Capitals.
Yeah.
Apparently, they decided to take matters into their own hands. Okay. And the puck had barely dropped before the two lines got in a fight.
Oh, wow.
First 3 minutes, there were fights. I think there were 17 minutes of penalties before a minute was over of the game.
So did they go back to old school hockey? Because I know old school, you know.
No, this was a boxing match.
Oh,
this was a boxing match. And after that, a hockey game broke out.
Okay.
But
go ahead.
It just goes to show you that if the commissioners or if the players don't feel like the commissioner's taking charge, that they take matters into their own hands. That happens in hockey. Football's a really different situation, though.
Yeah, it's hard. But the funny thing about what you're saying about that with the hockey is that I think the guy in charge of that, in charge of safety and in charge of that, is an ex-hockey guy. I mean, I heard it was they felt that this one player did something and he got a light penalty or
Yes.
a light sentence because of something that he did, which was egregious. And they were upset and they called for this guy to be fired. And he's the guy that, like I say, reviews and looks at this and hands out suspensions.
And here was our hockey game, the first minute of the hockey game.
You mean the fight that broke out?
Yes, the first of many.
Yes. So hockey's in full swing. So I guess, that's how it gets when it gets close to playoff time. Temperature start rising, and that's what can happen in a hockey game. Yeah.
Right. Well, this was retaliation. This was pure retaliation.
Wow.
So the commissioner didn't step in, and he gave, I believe, a $5,000 fine as opposed to a suspension. And the players didn't feel like that was the proper punishment, shall we say.
Well, if you're going to hit a pro athlete, you got to hit him hard in his pocket, and $5,000, man, that's chump change.
It really wasn't. It wasn't a whole lot, and it should have been more. But that being said, instead of talking hockey, let's talk football for a little bit.
Well, like I said, the draft happened, it's come and gone, and I'm going to introduce a proud papa because his son was drafted. Dez Fitzpatrick was drafted in the 4th round by the Tennessee Titans. And here's his dad, Greg Fitzpatrick. Greg, how are you doing? He's at Wide Receiver Nation, so Greg's a coach there. Do you own the Wide Receiver Nation, Greg?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yeah. Started the program a handful of years ago, coaching a lot of young receivers. I started off with my son, Dez, and I've got a younger son, actually, at Michigan State, who's a freshman receiver. Yeah, a little bigger than Dez still. I think he's going to be just as good, if not better. So, I started off doing that to kind of build a brand for them, anticipating that they may have a chance to play on Sundays. And, as a parent, if you're involved a little too much, people will start calling you a helicopter dad. But at the end of the day, I played a little ball myself, played in college, had on a few pro helmets, never stuck. But, when you're around the game long enough and you recognize talent, whether it's your son or not, you just recognize talent. And if you're able as a parent to just kind of draw that line of, demarcation between dad and coach, and if you really stay on both sides of the line when you're coaching or when you're being a dad and you have self-awareness, then I think it's easy to pull it off and be a parent and a coach, and especially when you have people around you, who are mentors, who have played the game and you know how to listen to constructive criticism and things like that. So, he's got an opportunity, in front of him now after spending 5 long years at Louisville. And we're just happy, we're just happy for him,
Yep. Drafted to Tennessee, right?
Yes. Drafted to the Titans. They lost a few receivers last year. Davis being one, a guy that I really, scouted and evaluated because I like to evaluate receivers, in the college ranks and, put my 2 cents in on Twitter, right? And Corey Davis, I thought was a real good player coming out of Western Michigan, but now he's gone. AJ Brown's there. I think they just signed another young guy who's an undrafted free agent a few years ago out of Denver, who hasn't had a lot of snaps. So Dez has an excellent opportunity to go in and contribute immediately. And the things that they said about him let me know that they scouted him really, 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 really hard. Because, I know his game intimately, and the things I like about him, I love about him, that made them give up their last 3 picks to come up and get him in the 4th round.
Well, that was the interesting thing that you said to me before the show started was that it wasn't where he got drafted at as far as in the 4th round. It was who drafted him. And you're right, fit is so important, especially when you take your game to the next level. And I know it had to give you a sense of confidence. They even lost their tight end, their Pro Bowl tight end, which left a big void for them. And how important was it too that they had Ryan Tannehill, their quarterback there, to a receiver? That has to be important, right? Who's throwing the ball to him? Who's trying to get the ball to him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And no disrespect to the quarterbacks at Louisville, because, they're all young kids, right? Mm-hmm. But their quarterbacks after Lamar Jackson left, like Des played with Lamar Jackson his redshirt freshman year. And he came out, he was a non-starter, and he played in their 4 and 5 receiver sets. And he had a really, really good year. He was a freshman All-American, put up 700 yards, 9 touchdowns. And, everyone thought that he would be gone after the next year. Well, Lamar left. So did the offense.
Yes.
Yeah, and the next quarterback struggled quite a bit. And, Coach Petrino, his pops died, and, he struggled that season and kind of checked out on the team, and it made it tough for Des, but he kept fighting through. He talked about transferring, but I told him to just kind of gut it out. And let's see what the next coaching staff has in store. The next coaching staff came in. Their system was geared around the slot receiver and running the ball a lot. So Des still didn't get his chance. And for him, he wasn't getting a lot of targets. But I told him, and just like I coach him in Little League, like, dude, look, you want to be a complete player, you really want to play on Sundays, and you want to play for 8-10 years and want to stick on a roster no matter where you get traded or no matter where you end up going. You got to be a complete receiver, and that includes blocking. So if you're not getting the football, you got to learn how to block. And for him and his talent, because he's a route runner, he's a cerebral player. He's not a super flashy player, just an efficient, and I'm gonna throw a name out there. And please, I'm not insinuating he's this guy, but his style of play is how I coached him, like Jerry Rice. Flashiest, you don't see him diving, for balls. You just always see him open, making easy catches because he was a cerebral player. So now Des is going to play with a pro quarterback who can throw him open, put balls in spots, and his ball skills and getting to the football, whether it's high, low, on the left side, right side, behind him, he can make those adjustments. So now he's playing with a Ryan Tannehill. But not only that, Lomas, and I don't have to tell you, man, you were a big dog. He's playing with an elite running back.
Yes.
He's playing with a running game. And when the Titans called him, everybody's screaming. And I'm thinking, holy smokes. Play with that dude in the backfield. Yes. So he's going to see single coverage, 8 in the box, so, things are set up for him to do well. All he's got to do is just go and be himself, just work hard. The one thing they talked about was his versatility, playing inside or outside, and his work ethic, and as a, a dad coach, right? I'm more proud of them talking about his work ethic and his attention to detail. And, like he was at the Senior Bowl and learned all 3. He was a late addition to the Senior Bowl. We had to beg to get him in the Senior Bowl. Got him in the Senior Bowl. He learned all 3 positions, X, Y, and X, Z, and the slot. Played all 3 in the Senior Bowl and won offensive MVP in the Senior Bowl. So, yeah, so for me, that's more exciting than anything, man, that he's going to the Titans, Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely a proud papa.
Yes, you're exactly right. Now you
really am.
You say you have a younger son, and he's a freshman.
Yeah, at Michigan State.
Okay, so that kind of transitions us into this name, image, and likeness, which is, is really taking fold. I'll let Deb kind of explain to everybody out there what's going on with that name, image, and likeness.
Yeah, so we've got a lot going on with name, image, likeness right now. March 31st, we had arguments before the United States Supreme Court, which were really interesting. And by the way, if anybody's listening, you can get onto the U.S. Supreme Court website and listen to the arguments. They archive all the oral arguments. So it's for a Supreme Court nerd like me, it's kind of fascinating. But so we have that, and we're expecting a decision in May or June. And it appears that according to the questions, it looked like the athletes who may actually come out ahead on this. In the meantime, we have federal legislation. We have 6 different bills being introduced into Congress everywhere. Some are very NCAA centric, some are very player centric. And then because nobody can wait, we have a number of states that have decided to introduce and pass legislation. And we have existing laws now in Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Michigan, Mississippi, North Dakota, New Jersey, New Mexico, Nebraska, and South Carolina. And then we have Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi, which are all having their laws come into effect July 1st of this year. So we are in for a heck of a recruiting season because, SEC country.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, 75% of the SEC schools are in these states. So this is, but interestingly, Georgia's law, and each of these laws is a little different. So before I bore everybody about it, one of the things Georgia just signed their law, I believe it was today, and with any name, image, likeness, that basically means the athlete can profit off their name, image, likeness. They can do camps, they can do social media, they can, sell their name, do endorsements, whatever. But in Georgia, they're saying the school can take up to 75% of the endorsement money that they receive. And so everything's just a little bit different. How do you think that's going to play when you're looking at a school? You've got a younger son who's now a freshman at Michigan State. Would he have changed his mind?
Actually, you know what? To be perfectly honest, Deb, I think that the people who panic and are probably against it are people who really don't realize that it's only going to really affect a certain amount, right? It's going to affect like probably those 5 stars, those upper echelon players who will probably profit off of that, guys who will probably end up in bidding wars, or that would affect, their decisions. But, my kid was a 3 and a 4 star in some places. And at the end of the day, no one's probably coming and promising him, and he's a good player. And the same with my last son, he was a good player. So he just got drafted, but he wasn't. But he wasn't a 5 star. You know what I mean? Coming out of high school, and Alabama wasn't banging our door down. And if this name, image, and likeness would have been prevalent back then, no one would have been saying like, hey, if Dez comes to school there, he can make $100,000 a year, at a dental office or a car dealership, with endorsements. So it wouldn't have even affected my kid, back then. So, at the end of the day, like you mentioned, camps, right? Like I can probably put my kid's, picture on a camp flyer now and pay him, a couple $100 to come and, work at a camp, like some of his teammates and things like that. I think, I don't think it's going to have a huge effect unless you're talking about, like even Lamar Jackson wasn't that highly recruited. MVP of our league 2 years ago, and this probably wouldn't have even affected him. He came to Louisville, right? So it'll probably only affect the upper echelon players, in a large effect where it will affect recruiting. So your traditional powerhouses that get the kids now will probably continue to get the kids, but some of those backdoor deals will probably be cut to sway maybe a Tua Tagovailoa to go to another school, to Clemson instead of Alabama, right? Those kids are still going to stay at those big schools.
So let me ask this then. So you're looking at it from the standpoint of the entry level into college. What about the player that gets in there, or a player that's already in college, like your son, who's already a freshman? Do you think this is this can be looked at as incentive based now, meaning now he gets in there, he sees that he can make more money the more famous that he gets, or the more the more popular that he becomes on campus? Do you think now that the athletes will start looking at this as more of an incentive based, I guess I'm trying to say more incentive based than just looking at it from the standpoint of entry level, which school I'm choosing to go to? Because if you get in a school like a University of Michigan, I mean, like you say, if he gets to the point where he's a household name, he can make a lot of money there while he's in school.
Lomas, you make a good point, because I think that it's going to be up to parents to get educated on how to handle this, right? And keep your kids focused, right? Because at the end of the day, like I know, one of my favorite sayings to, every kid that I've always coached, and parents, when I talk to them, I always tell them, as long as you make it about ball, then you'll be safe. In other words, make it about the sport, make it about getting better, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to play on that big stage. If that's your goal, you want to be able to play on that big stage, and you don't want to make it. You want to stick, right? You want to stick. You want to get to that second contract. You know how that goes. And you can't do that being preoccupied with chasing pennies when there's thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars out there. So it's all relative, right? My goal would be to keep my kid, focused on just playing football. Don't worry, somebody inboxed you and DM'd you and told you to, that, hey, you want to make $5,000? I've got an opportunity for you to make $5,000. And, my son, he'll send it to me, and I'll tell him, take your butt to practice. That's what you do. I'll talk to this guy. Don't worry about it. And 9.9 times out of 10, if it becomes a distraction from what you're there for, and that's to get your education and to get better at the sport, then it's up to the parents to try to steer their kids the right way. And, and I know every parent isn't involved as much, and some kids make their own decisions, but, the schools are going to have to educate them. The coaches are going to have to educate them. And the coaches already have enough problems with, kids wanting their stats, right? So they can get to the NFL. Dad's had his college coach promise him, if he came back this past year, he was going to get 10 to 12 targets a game. He was going to play in the slot a little bit, blah, 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 blah. It never happened. It never happened. And Des knew it would affect his draft status. And, me as a dad being involved in the program, I even they even asked me to come and speak to the team one day. I never said anything during the season. Even though he wasn't getting those targets, I just held it in. I didn't say anything, because I knew at the end of the day, he had to just keep on working and just continue to get better. Nothing I say will probably change anything. So I said, I'm not going to say it, right? So and that kind of goes back to me saying that coaches already have a lot to worry about. And this is just one more thing on their plates that they're going to have to manage. They're going to have to manage it from a parent's perspective. They're going to have to manage it from a player's perspective. Because you're right, Lomas, it's going to affect kids who are already on campus. It really is.
Well, we have the transfer portal is so totally open right now. It's going to change everything. I mean, the NCAA transfer portal, everybody's moving everywhere.
Well,
We've got that going on.
To Michigan State. He was at Louisville.
Right.
Yeah, he transferred to Michigan State just a couple months ago. About a month ago. As soon as his pro day was over.
And so everybody's doing these transfers. We also have the whole idea of social media, and I believe one of the biggest money makers is actually one of our female basketball players. I believe she was from Baylor. So while it's a really interesting question, because we do have kids like Des who are probably going to be drafted to the NFL. And then we have other people who won't make it from a pro standpoint, but may actually make more money off this name, image, likeness than some of the others. So I think it's, it's something to be looked at that's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah. And they just have, I could tell you this, a lot of these kids are so tech savvy when it comes to social media. They understand how that landscape works. Like even my daughter, she's doing, call it influencing, right? She's an influencer.
Right.
Yes. And you know, they know how to build their brands exclusively by themselves, whether they're talking about YouTube, whether you're talking Twitter, right? Instagram, they know how to build their brands. And it's pretty easy, you know, if you know how to operate in that ecosystem, so to speak, right? So you got a kid who's like on the football team or on a basketball team or on a soccer team, tennis team, women's basketball. It doesn't matter. You can build your brand if you're strategic about it, right? But as long as it doesn't stop you from your end game, and that's getting your education and having fun while you're playing sports. And who's to say that, you know, building your brand isn't part of that experience, that college experience now? Because now that's going to be, you know, an expected part of their college experience, an opportunity to build their brand, right?
I think everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
I'd hate to be a coach right now.
I know you're right about that. That's a great point.
You got to deal with parents. You got to deal with the NCAA. Now you got to deal with parents who are probably going to call and say like, "Hey, wait a minute, my kid's not getting. He's not on the media guide, right? My kid's not. You know, why wasn't he on the commercial? Why isn't he at media day? And you know, and it's crazy because it's going to get worse. But just like anything else, everything evolves, right? This sport has evolved. This evolved since I played it. Evolved since you played.
Yeah.
Social media has taken it to another level, and we're just going to have to adapt, just like we had to adapt to COVID, right?
Yeah.
We're just going to adapt on the fly. Yeah.
Now, you know what I'm wondering, and we may not have an answer to this, but you know, these e-gamers now, the kids that are playing games, that play the video games now, you know, it's certain schools that are starting to give out scholarships for that. I wonder if they're going to be considered athletes.
They are
athletes.
They are athletes.
Okay, so
they're considered athletes. They are the Big Ten teams.
So they fall into that pool of players that are going to be eligible for that. For that, right? Yes, it's huge. Yes,
it's huge. I just got off of Twitter because my son Des has this huge PC that he built and these huge monitors. Like he's a gamer. and what's his name? And the big ticket who got drafted to the Jets last year, offensive tackle. What am I?
That's a huge individual. Yes, he is.
Yeah, he and Dez are buddies, and Tutu Atwell, and they're all on Twitter right now as we speak. If you went on Twitter, they're talking to guys about building like a virtual PC and gaming and getting all these kids into their, I don't know what the heck they call it. I just looked at it and I'm like, wow, you guys are serious about this.
Greg, let me say this real fast. That's one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen, man. My good, Deb. I think he's like 370.
Ooh.
He is huge,
tall and broad.
Yeah,
he's 6'7" and he can move too.
Yes, he can.
Yeah, he can really move. He can really move. He's real big into the gaming. And I don't know why I'm losing my train of thought right now, but I can't even remember his name. I'm looking at his face. But yeah, no, he's a really good player. Oh, there's that. What's the big ticket's name, Des? Mekhi Becton.
Yeah, yes. Mekhi, yes.
Is Des there now?
Des is right here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Brown used to play for the
Hey, Des. Congratulations.
Congrats, man. Congrats, man. It's a great accomplishment, man. We were talking about, man, you going to a good team, you know, and stuff, looking for some great things from you, man. And it's wide open for you. It's wide open for you to have a great year, man. Yes, I know you are. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, yeah, man. Well, good luck. You know, I call the radio games for the Lions and stuff. So, you know, when you go up against your hometown team, don't try to hurt them too much now. Don't try to hurt them too much.
Yes, we were just talking about gaming. Oh, yeah. They were just talking about how the name, image, and likeness is kind of affecting college sports now. And then, you know, Lomas brought up the fact that now gaming is getting, pretty big in the college sporting world, and it's turning into like its own industry. And I was telling that you and Makai and Tutu, all you guys are gamers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gamers. We all got the PCs, and we're all talking to each other right now upstairs as we speak. So
wow.
Yeah, that's all. So you have to work out the thumbs, or you have to work out the wrists, keep those worked out.
Yeah, but don't wreck with the hands. You got to be careful with those hands now.
No, it's actually funny. While I was in Tampa working out and stuff, training, I brought my game system and stuff, and I was playing, and the next day, like right here, my thumb started hurting, and I went to the trainer. Oh. What happened? And I was like, I think I was playing the game for too long. So I was like, I have to chill out for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I have a quick question. How did it feel when you found out that you were drafted by Tennessee?
It was crazy. I felt like the world was like just moving slow, and I was actually like driving for a second, so I almost pulled over for a second. I was like, "This is real life," and it was just a dream come true.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be here at home with all the family.
Yeah.
He was picking up his girlfriend and a couple of his buddies.
Like 3 minutes.
He was 3 minutes away from the house, and I get a text from his wide receiver coach who put me in a text with Dez, and he said, I think he maybe said Tennessee Titans with a question mark, and I said, wow, that would be great. And he goes, well, that's the word. And I said, Coach, don't play with my emotions. And Dez walks in, and Dez just has this poker face. So he walks in with his girlfriend, his buddies, and I'm looking at Dez like, oh, what's going on here? So we're watching the TV, and the whole family's watching the TV, and all of a sudden, the Tennessee Titans walked the card up, and they said the pick is in. So my heart started beating. I'm going, wait a minute, the Titans is one of the teams his agents really said may pick him up. Is this about to happen? And I looked at Dez, and I'm like, well, he would have got the call already. But he had got the call in the car and didn't let anyone know. And the next thing,
Good move.
Yeah, so we're streamers, right? So we're a little bit behind cable. So we're streaming. All of a sudden, my phone starts ringing, and I look, and it was his agent. It was Bilbo. There's Bilbo. So the phone's ringing as soon as the guy's walking up to the podium. And I'm looking at the phone like, man, what's going on here? So I answer the phone. And as soon as I answer the phone, they're about to make the pick. And I just hear him in the phone screaming, yo, let's get in. Let's go. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? What's up? Then the guy called the pick, and the whole family just, it just erupted, man. It was the coolest thing in the world. But you always think you know what's going to happen and how you're going to feel. I'm thinking as a dad, we've been through this so long, I'm not going to cry. Man, I almost passed out.
That's awesome. Now, Dez, so I know a whole big old thing with the players once they get in the league is their Madden ratings. So tell me now, I know, right? Where you think you might be at with the ratings? Where you think you're going to fall at with the ratings? Because I hear this, man, they ticked off now, man, if that rating ain't where I think it should be at. So where do you think you might start at? You think in the 80s? Where you thinking? Where you anticipating?
I'll be happy. I played Madden my whole entire life, so I kind of understand how the ratings are set and everything. Most of them don't get too much love, so I'll be happy with, a 70 or higher, starting off. But the more plays I make, the more things that, I show on the field, those ratings better be bumped up and upgraded.
There you go.
Yeah. 90 plus speed.
Yeah. I like that, man. Well, like I say, man, good luck to you this year, man. I'll be rooting for you. I'll definitely be rooting for you this year.
Absolutely. Hometown boy.
That's right.
We're excited.
And Lomas, and maybe you'll hear something about this. We heard that because they came up to get Dez, right? A couple picks. Lions were picking 2 picks later, and that's the team that we kind of heard was going to pick him if Tennessee wouldn't have gotten him. And I don't know how true that is. I've heard that from a couple of places because I know they took a receiver right after.
That's St. Brown, I think they took the guy from USC, in the fourth round, I think.
Interviewing with them a lot. He was interviewing with them a lot. You always hear the stories, a month or two later, what really happened. But I thought that was interesting that he may have made it home.
Well, I go with what you said, that again, that's where he got picked at, the opportunities that he's going to get to catch balls, playing for a good coach in Vrabel that's there, and they're contenders. And like you say, he got that's not a running back in the backfield. That's a lineman that you got in the backfield, and Derrick Henry, man. That is a grown man back there. So like you saying, it should be a lot of 8 in the box. He should be able to get one-on-one coverage. So I'm looking for you to have an exciting year. It's got to be, rookie of the year or rookie, at least making the all-rookie team should be on your mind. That should be your mindset. Hey, rookie of the year should be on your mindset.
Oh, look at him. He's like, oh, my God.
Yeah. Hey, man, we got to think big, right? We thinking big. Yeah.
No, I'm with that.
This goal is set definitely high for me.
Absolutely, and stuff. So so we were talking too about your little brother, because we kind of brought up name, likeness, and image, and you gave him any tips? Did you give him any tips? You've been talking to him about about how to handle college and what to expect, especially about him being a freshman going in this year.
Yeah, definitely. We have countless talks about how to carry himself on and off the field. The things that I did wrong, I told him not to do. Everything. I kind of see it as me being kind of like the guinea pig for him. Things I went through. He makes sure if he does that, his path should be.
Absolutely.
I actually told him it's his job to get his brother to where he is. Yeah, I said, I'm getting old, man. I said, look, I'm getting old. Dad's getting tired, man. I said, look, you know the position better than I do. You've been coached by some great coaches, Coach Gunnar Brewer, who coached Randy Moss, Justin Blackman, Dez Bryant. Coach Brew, he has coached some dudes. And so now he knows the position, at a higher level than I taught him, right? So for me, it's like, look, let me relax and kick back, man. You coach your brother. You
just want the tickets to the games and all the fun travel.
Yes, stay out of my pocket.
You got to take care of the family. Come on, Des.
Just stay out of my pockets and take care of your little brother. Yeah. You coach him up, man. Look, I don't know anything anymore. You coach him up. You got him. So but they're thick as thieves. They're close, and his little brother. Actually, it's funny. He's in Florida for his spring break, so he's with some of his buddies from Louisville because he spent his first year at Louisville, so he's a redshirt freshman at State now.
Okay,
and he had on Desmond's sweatsuit that he gave him from Clutch, his agency.
Okay,
he had on his brother's sweatsuit. He's representing, so it's just all and Lomas, it's all about a mindset. I always tell my kids everything matters, man. Manifest this thing. It shouldn't be the end all be all, but unless you treat it like that, you don't have a shot. So get your education and be serious about your education, but make no mistake about it. You pour everything into this, and you'll defeat those statistics. When somebody says, well, only 1% makes it to the NFL. My thing is, I never played high school football, walked on, got cut, walked back on, and ended up putting on a couple pro helmets, in camps and stuff. And I wasn't ever supposed to end up on anybody's football team, but I did just because I poured everything in my soul into it. You know what I mean? Just to give myself a chance. So for me, it's like, look, those statistics that are out there about that 1%, there's a lot of other variables that go into it. And one of them is true belief and trying to manifest this thing to happen, right? All the off the field stuff, the parental support, the mentors you put around you, your eating habits, your the circle you surround yourself with your buddies, and and just having that mind frame to believe that this is my path. And we're taking injuries out of it, right?
Right. And you've got to be really careful. I mean, we know that NFL players, you don't have good guarantees. You've got to be really careful. And, and the other thing is, the careers can be very short. Yeah. So the education, everything that you're saying is so important.
Very important.
Yeah. What were we saying? Like, over 50% of former NFL players are broke or divorced or both within, a year after. So Des, take all the classes you can.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. And I mean, Lomas, you've seen it 100 times. We talk about it all the time, yes. How prepping for the future.
Yeah.
Even after an 18-year career.
Oh, and my one thing is be a card collector. And what I mean by that is any sponsors you meet, that the team has you around, man, grab cards, man. Or some of these presidents, these vice presidents of teams, man, get their cards, keep their cards. Just do that. Network while you're there in the league. Just always network. And that's the good thing, because once you're out, then you'll always have that Rolodex. And that's one thing that I try to tell all these guys, ex-players, man, you'll be able to use that Rolodex once you're out the game. You want that 10, 12, 15-year career. But like you said, it's certain things that you can't control. But networking and getting around the right people, that'll definitely help you out too. So yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right about that, Dale.
Career advice from the great Lomas Brown.
Yes, sir. I love it. Yes. I knew it was a reason.
Yes.
I appreciate you guys having me on so much.
Yes.
This was really cool. And
well, thank you.
Yeah, and I've lived here since I'm a transplant from Cleveland. And I've lived here since 1991. Yeah, I was finished in Cincinnati. Yeah, 1991. So, so I've seen your career, man. I've always been that, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So I didn't know you had the Cleveland, because I was there in '99, and hey, they better look out for Cleveland now. Y'all better look out for them Browns, man. They trying to build something over there off of Erie Lake, man. They ain't. You're right, man. Yeah.
So that's my hometown team, man. I and there was a huge part of me that wanted them to get picked up by the Brownies.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny? Where your hometown team is wherever you were like when you're 10 years old. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Des is always going to be a Lions fan, no matter what.
Right. No, and that's funny you said that, because there were a lot of my some of my family, and they said, well, why don't you bring the draft party to Cleveland? The draft is in Cleveland. I said, this isn't from Cleveland. I'm from Cleveland. Why am I bringing him to Cleveland? Dad doesn't know anything about Cleveland. No, we're going to be here. So get your bus in the car and get here. This is where it's going to be.
So
it is funny. We never grow up.
Yeah, quiet.
That's so true, Dad.
Quiet as it's kept. I'm from Miami, so I'm a little bit of a Dolph fan, because I grew up in Miami, but the Lions drafted me. So, if I have to say it, I think it might be Miami 1A and really the Lions 1B. But, I grew up a Dolph fan, like you said, that's my, that's right to the thick of things right there, Deb.
It is so funny. I teach sports law, and everybody likes the team that they grew up with.
Yeah.
And it's usually right around 10 years old. I am an Oakland Raiders fan. I don't care where they move. I don't care what they did. They are the Oakland Raiders, will be forever.
Right.
See, I'm a 70s baby, so I love the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Browns. I even liked the Steelers back then, even though they were
wow.
I just love the Steelers because I was a receiver when I was younger, and I just love Lynn Swan.
Wow.
Everybody loved Lynn Swan.
But I love Paul Warfield too.
Yeah, Hey, quiet as it's kept. That's what I used after a Miami game. I used to go out and line up at wide receiver, and that's who I used to
That
be.
was your guy.
Was
That was
Paul
your guy.
Warfield. That was my guy there.
Yeah.
That was my man right there. Yes, sir. Number
Yeah.
42. That was
Yeah.
my guy. So,
Yeah.
so Dez, let me ask you this now: with them being able now with the NFL with this new numbers change and everything, are you going to keep your same numbers? Another number you may be looking towards? Because man, this pretty much going to be wide open with what numbers that guys can wear now in the NFL. Are you going to keep the same number?
I'm still thinking about it, honestly. They gave me a couple of options. Gave me like 10 options.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna look different out there this year, man. I mean, the
They like some
NFL.
single-digit receivers.
Exactly.
Although I really like the number 7. It's one of my favorite numbers.
Yeah. A lot of people said that they won't.
Yeah, that's going to be different this year. Tom Brady doesn't seem to like it, but
I was
it's
just
going
about
to be
to say
different.
that, man.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
was
really like it either, honestly. To be honest.
Really? Why you don't like it?
More old-fashioned guy, like you keep the guys in, the teams. And I guess it's a new generation, new game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are changing everything.
Football snob, a purist.
Yeah.
It's like I like tradition.
Yeah.
I can dig that.
But it was nice meeting you guys, though.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
so
good
much
luck.
for joining
Good
us.
luck.
Good luck. We'll be watching you.
Thank you guys so much.
All right.
Yeah. And I think we're running out of time here. So thank you so much, Greg, and thank you for bringing Des in. What a cool surprise.
Yeah, that was.
And congratulations.
No, thank you so much. Yeah, we're happy. Yeah. So now we're just praying for him, and got his iPad and his playbook, and he's just ready to roll.
Yeah.
And his gaming computer.
When he got drafted.
Yeah. How many games you think you're gonna make it up? Are you gonna try to make it up to all the games this year?
Oh, I'll probably go to every game. It's 6 hours away, seven hours away. I may drive a couple, but no, I'll be if they're having fans, man.
Yeah.
I'll be at every game. He plays in they're the AFC South.
Yeah, AFC South. Yeah.
South. So I'll make it to some games, but then it's gonna be a little tough because Christian plays on Saturdays. So I'll be hopping.
Ooh.
Yes, you will.
At my age, I'm in my 50s, man.
Yeah.
Private jet, they always work well.
Right. I'll just jump on a plane and just go, man.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome.
We get a chance to do this again. So.
Okay.
So this has been great. And Greg, again, you're still gonna have the academy, right? You're still gonna have the wide receiver. So you're still teaching young kids.
Yeah, we're going back to. I had taken a couple years off just to get Christian acclimated, but we're redoing it. We're going to jump right back into it, and I like to work with the younger kids. Christian's senior year, I was teamed up with Max X, Sound Mind, Sound Body.
Yes.
So I was teamed up with during the 707 year, and Christian, played with them, and and I coached the wide receivers with another younger guy. And the high school kids are cool, but I like to catch them young. Before they start getting stars and they start thinking they're better than they are, and and everybody's concerned about their offers, and give them to me when they're in the 7th grade, 8th grade, when their minds are like sponges and they're super respectful and they're just anxious to learn. And if I get you then I believe that I can lay a really, really good foundation to teach you to not only love the game, but love the position and understand what it's going to take for you to survive both the good and the bad through college. Because, you don't have Des had a rocky college career, just emotionally. And, had it not been for his mental preparation, he wouldn't be where he is today. A lot of it has to do with his mental preparation. He's not some great kid or the smartest kid in the world, but just understanding that, here's how you handle adversity. Adversity, isn't necessarily a bad thing all the time. Just part of your battle scars to make you who you are, right? To get you prepared for that next journey, no matter what it is, even if it's just in business, if you don't get to the next level, you have to learn how to handle adversity. You have to learn how to handle confrontation and the whole 9 yards. So I try to teach kids that when they're in the 7th and 8th grade and they're wide-eyed and they believe it, right? But once you get kids in high school, sometimes, they could be a little cynical because, they want theirs, and, the parents have told them, that those kids have offers. You should have an offer by now. And it's so hard to get kids to just understand. Don't worry about the offers. If you're good enough, you can only go to one school. Yeah. So let's make sure that you're good enough so that when you get to that one school who really loves you, you're able to perform and right frame of mind, get there. But if you're worried about what someone else is doing, or you want 50 offers when you can only go to one school, that's for a disaster. So give me the young kids. Give me the young ones.
There you go.
Wow. Yeah. And that's great. What a testament to you and your parenting, and have such a great young kid. So I think we're out of time here. We've gone almost an hour already.
Yeah, my battery is running low too. So yeah, my bad. But go ahead, Deb. Wrap us up.
Yeah, I'm wrapping us up. So check us out on sportslaw.com. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Spotify. We're now on Spotify. We're on YouTube. Love to have you. Any questions? We'd love to see you.